I'm Des Jackson. We're sitting out in front of the Banshee Labyrinth, which is the most haunted pub in Scotland. We're going to do a little impromptu investigation night with our friends Gillian and Alex. They've agreed to come out and show us around. It will be impromptu, so there will be people there when we're doing this investigation. We're going to hope for the best.
I'm Alex Staniforth. I, among other things, am a local historian and ghost tour guide. And this building we're in right now is currently called the Banshee Labyrinth pub, though it used to be called Nicol Edwards, which will matter a little bit later. Now, this is one of the tenement buildings on either side of the South Bridge. The South Bridge was finally opened in 1788, and when it was opened, it was in fact opened by a dead woman. A wealthy old lady had got enough influence that it had been agreed that she would be the first person to drive over the bridge. But unfortunately, it took so long to finish that she died in the meantime, and the first vehicle to be driven over the South Bridge was her funeral carriage. And the North Bridge, that had been built a few decades earlier, had promptly collapsed, sadly killing several people. And with this still in their minds and seeing this funeral carriage cross the bridge first, many local people first thought that the South Bridge was cursed. And maybe it was, because shortly after its construction, tenement buildings were built on either side of most of its stone archway. The only visible one now is the one above the cowgate at the bottom of the road here. Now, these tenement buildings include the one we are in, that is now the Banshee Labyrinth pub. And behind these tenement buildings, the archways of the bridge were changed into vaults. Now, vault means they had a curved vaulted ceiling, not they were vaults like bank vaults or anything. And these vaults were supposed to be storage areas and workshops for the shops and premises in the tenement buildings. But unfortunately, Edinburgh City Council, truly as wise then as they are now, forgot to damp-proof it. As it rains a little here in Edinburgh, within about 10 years, the legitimate businesses gave them up as a bad job. They were too damp to do anything with. But as they could be accessed from the street, that left space for illegitimate businesses to move in. Criminals and the desperate, the destitute and the homeless, moved in here and rubbed shoulders for decades until eventually Edinburgh City Council blocked most of them up with rock, rubble, earth, etc. Until in the late 80s, early 90s, people began to dig them out. Most famously, Norrie Rowan, a Scottish rugby player, dug out a lot of them. And they began to be used, in the case of Banshee Labyrinth, or as it was then Nicol Edwards, as rooms for the pub, and in several cases for ghost tours. And people began to report experiencing strange things happening there. And even beforehand, people had experienced strange things in what was Nicol Edwards' pub. And perhaps there's even more reason for that, and a reason why this is considered the most haunted pub in Edinburgh and perhaps in all of Scotland. Because it is said that Nicol Edwards, in his basement, tortured people down there, whether interrogating witches or criminals. It is said he did some certain dark deeds in the basement of his house, which stood on this spot, hence the old name, Nicol Edwards Pub. So, even before the South Bridge, this spot has a very dark history.
Okay, we're recording.
So, what was your question again?
My question was, have you ghost hunted this building before, and have you run across anything?
Well, we both worked in Blair Street Vaults, which is vaults on the other, so almost underneath here. And so I guided there for about 3 years. You were much longer for that, about 5, 6 years, 8. Get less than murder. So between that, and certainly there's a lot of things on yours. You definitely have much more experience in this because you did the vigils.
Yes,
definitely let you start with that.
I do have one ghost story from my time doing tours in the vaults. As Gillian said, I used to do the vigils, so people would spend the night from midnight till 5 in the morning with a paranormal investigator, a medium or both, hunting ghosts. On this particular night, at about 20 to 5, we were looking to finish, and one person was on their own exploring vaults. As I knew the vaults best, I said I'd go and get him. So I found him standing at the end of one of the corridors, and I said to him, "Could you go and join the rest of the group, please, as we're looking to finish? I'm going to go through here and see if anybody else is about." And as I stepped into the room, a voice whispered in my ear, "I am." Yeah, that's my best story of hauntings. That happened to me. Anyway, in this pub, I have to say, though I drink here often, I haven't experienced anything. It's quite loud and quite busy, but many people have, particularly the staff. And something weird did happen here over lockdown, which I will try and find to show you.
I didn't do the vigils, I just guided tours, but I had a lot of smaller things. I didn't have anything as dramatic as Alex had, but you'd have weeks when nothing would happen at all, and you'd feel absolutely fine, and then you'd have phases where the atmosphere just changed, and it became really, really heavy. The things that spring to mind that have had happen were a lot of footsteps, occasional things being thrown, having really big black cloaks, and you'd have your cloak tucked on quite often. You're supposed to be able to see the way down there, and you would feel something sort of tugging about, sort of slow down. What else happened? There was one that I was actually upstairs talking to another guide, and two what looked like hearts with over our heads, but it was shadows. And then the person I was speaking to, and we both saw it, but no explanation for that. Likewise, I used to, when I wasn't guiding, I used to work in the gift shop upstairs, and I once had somebody peek around the corner in a top hat. I actually thought it was Alex. It was not you. You don't have a top hat, you have one of those. There's lots of things. You just got to get used to it. It was always commonplace. And somebody, it'd always be a new guy who'd come up the stairs looking ashen. What happened? You know, it's Chris, or whatever. You just got very, very blasé about it. Well, it was just a really unusual building. It just felt very organic. It would have little growth spurts. It would do strange things. Then it would go very quiet for a while, and then it would become very, very active. It's weird to say, but when I left guiding, I actually missed the ghosts. Yeah. I always wanted to go back to say goodbye to them, because that would be part of the life, right? It's a fascinating place. I really don't know. It's got a little bit of a life of its own. I'm sure there's a lot more stories. Oh, Mega Cellar is an interesting place. So we have this room on this immense level. It was used as part of a tour. And funny atmosphere in that place. There was one day I went in and all the chairs had been barricaded in the corner. I'd be the last person the night before. I'd be the first person the next day, and it was just rolled up as if it was in the corner. That was unnerving. Yes.
Battery shut off after speaking a lot about the Catholics.
Because
Nothing bad, I hasten to add. God, don't start sectarian violence on this channel.
yeah, because it's interesting actually.
Oh, and now it's...
And now the EMF detector shut off.
No, because I mean, it's interesting because I actually always
And that's
wanted
about, what,
to be a
5 times
Catholic.
now?
Because I read
Yeah,
confirmation into school and I really wanted confirmation.
Yeah.
But I did a show 3 years ago called Saints Alive, which was about stories of weird saints. And I had to consult all of my Catholic friends because we didn't have that relationship with saints.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with some weird saint stories.
And this thing's dancing all around. It's been as high as 3.4, and the EMF detector.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we'd get a damn thing in here tonight. It's Saturday. I suppose it's still early.
It is still early for this place, yeah.
It'll probably get busy about 10 or something.
Later.
I wish my friend could.
That's why I asked if you knew Gallic at all, so you know.
Not really, no.
But equally, Gallic would be a very narrow time period for the time period we're talking about here. Gaelic, Irish Gaelic might actually be.
So there is a difference.
There is.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the same root, as does Welsh, though Welsh is more different.
So we're at 2.6. So you started talking about Gaelic,
Yeah, and
and it started going nuts.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Scots is Gaelic, Irish is Gaelic.
Yes.
If you speak one or the other, you'll understand both, but they're not the same language. So I'd imagine there would be a lot of Irish Gaelic speakers around this area who probably could have communicated with people who come from the Highlands who are speaking Gaelic. But yeah,
At least in a very broad way.
it's a bit like, I suppose, some difference between French Canadians and French Americans. It's the same
Or
language.
like the French in Louisiana, the Creole.
Yeah, interesting.
So I have a question. I've always wanted to ask this because this happened one time when I used to do customer service on the phone. A lady from London called, and it just happened to be St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
And I, being polite like I am, trying to be nice, I wished her a happy St. Patrick's Day. The Irish, I was like, what the hell? I was like, I'm part Irish, so a big part of me says,
No, that's really weird.
and I was a little pissed off. I said, you know, and after she was through with her ranting and raving, I said, do you know what? I'm Irish. And she got dead quiet.
3.3.
Oh, yeah.
We got another shut off now. So something is not happy with the Irish. So I want to know if anybody knows what the hell the English problem is with the Irish.
I mean, to be brutally honest, it's normally the other way around.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Really?
The English have persecuted the Irish a lot as a nation. I mean, going back
Recent Battle of the Boyne. Oh.
Well, I mean, going back to even before Cromwell to Henry VIII, I mean, the word beyond the Pale comes from an area of Ireland that was called the Pale, that was where in Henry VIII's time the English monarch could control Ireland. The English monarch claimed Ireland, but they only really controlled a small section called the Pale. But post overthrowing Charles I, when he took over England and Scotland, Cromwell then turned his eye on Ireland and was brutal, far more brutal than he ever was against the Royalists.
Wow.
In England or Scotland. He was absolutely terrible. And since then, I would say there has been very much a history of England oppressing and colonising Ireland. And that's, the tensions from that go on today, of course, in Northern Ireland. So it's a lot more common, I would say, for Irish people to have a English attitude than it is for English people to have the Irish attitude. For very good reason. The only reason I can think of for an English person having that attitude is, well, very old-fashioned prejudice.
It totally stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, there it went.
Or maybe maybe the IRA did something to them.
Something. I just know that.
Because I guess that would make it personal. But honestly, I'm surprised by that.
I feel like every time we talk about the Irish, it pops up.
Yeah, it does seem to go
It's
up.
like there's someone here that's angry about the Irish, or maybe they're Irish.
Well, there is Irish.
I think they're Irish and angry.
Irish. Are you
Come over
an
here.
angry Irish?
Well,
Fighting Irish.
they potentially come over here for a new life and a clean start and they probably had a pretty hard time. I would imagine. They maybe wasn't what they expected it to be.
And we're shut down again.
Like 2 days later.
Because
Now, mind you, this thing's got a full charge. I don't know how to
there's a
show
plaque.
it, but
Yeah, it's Conley. It is Conley. It was born just James Conley.
What's Connolly?
He was one of the Easter uprising people in the show.
oh, really?
Yeah, he was born next junction. So there's a plaque to him. James Conley Memorial.
Maybe it's an angry Irish person.
Angry Irish Catholic person.
Oh yeah, an angry. Are you an angry Irish Catholic?
I'm just interested in what's happening.
See, that's normal. That was what I was trying to explain to her in the NECROPOLIS. I had zeros all across the board. When normal background EMF is like a 0.5, 0.4, or 0.7, around in that area.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it kept shutting down. I would restart it and it would say no.
Do you ever ask it to move the object?
Well, I mean, this trigger object in particular is new to me, but normally when I use a trigger object with an EMF detector, what I would say, for example, is if you're here, come closer to the coin, to the sovereign coin.
Sitting at 1.9.
We've also set out Scrabble tiles to see if they can shape them around to a word, stuff like that.
I suppose again it's a bit of a problem with a lot of time periods with things like Scrabble tiles that you're dealing with high rates of illiteracy as well.
Right.
So a lot of time people might not be able to interpret in that way, but
Well, the biggest word we ever got was cat. So that explains a lot.
well, it's not like me playing Scrabble, to be honest.
Not post John Knox in Scotland.
Well, no, that's true. He may be a cunt, but he did a lot for
John Knox did, one of his big reforms was being Protestant. Not only did he think that people should be able to understand church readings, but he wanted everyone to be able to read the Bible. And so as a side effect of that, he encouraged literacy among all Scottish people.
Well, and
which
also the fact as well, because he had this English Bible that came out, then the printing presses went wild, so there's a lot of printed literature coming out. Obviously, still the reserve of the rich, but it started the floodgates opened.
But it's one of the reasons why the Scottish Enlightenment happened in the 18th century, was because for about a century and a half, Scottish people were literate as a rule, which was very unusual at the time. But it's not interested in that at all. Maybe because it's Protestant history.
Or it's like,
Stop saying a Protestant thing.
or it could be one of those situations. Oh, they're talking about books. I'm out.
Yeah, not interested. I think we need to go back to the Catholic talking.
We need to talk about.
Or I wonder, would it be horrified by scandalous things? Because there's a lot of brothels and so on, and sex trade around this area as well. No, not bothered.
No.
Nope. So I'm not very good at Catholic talk as a ex-Church of
I
Scotland.
know, it's
Baptist,
really sad.
Pentecostal.
As I grew up Catholic and I went through all of the training, CCD, and I just, once I was given the option to not have to go to church, I was like, I'm out, I'm sleeping in.
I call her Catholic Light.
Yeah.
I think I never completely lost my faith. I just got very, very disheartened with people in church.
Shut down again.
And also, I just frankly find sermons extremely boring.
And you're sitting there and you're listening and they're droning on.
And I'll tell you, the Catholic religion is all about the exercise. Stand and kneel and sit and stand and kneel and stand and kneel and sit.
I like the bells and smells Catholicism, the ritual, which,
Church of England is very like that as well. Because when I've had family who've been christened or who've had weddings or whatever, and they're Church of England, the Church of England is very stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. I think because this doesn't interest our ghosts, but when the Church of England was founded, the country was very, very split between high church and low church, so they were trying to find a middle ground. So despite the fact the Church of England is a Protestant church, it's still quite a high church. For example, it has bishops, which is unusual in a Protestant church. And indeed, part of the reason why the Civil War kicked off, but let's not get into that.
Oh, as much as you're not up early tomorrow.
Now, how far does this... Oh, there you go. Look at that. That got him a little bit.
So, yeah, this is a bit of a labyrinth. There's lots of little rooms back there, including a kind of little theatre, which you do really weird stand-up.
Yeah.
Fabulous numbers.
Yeah.
You do stand-up comedy?
I do a show called Stand Up Horror, where I invent a horror story based on answers from the audience.
Nice.
Oh.
All right, we just got shut off right when the EMF detector went crazy. So something's not happy. Yeah, I can see the flashing screen. I just can't see the numbers.
Yeah,
That's wild.
it was around 4.1. It wasn't mega high, but it was. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean, if you get it nearer to the light, so I don't know if it's.
Yeah, but why would the camera shut off at the same time?
Yeah, it's certainly. Again, you want to do a baseline to be sure, but it's certainly interesting.
Sorry, man.
And now it's only reading around 2.6 here.
Yeah, 2.6 to 1.7.
So definitely
That's
seems
a
like there was a
fluctuation.
spike. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit right there.
And this is currently the quietest bar in the place, so I'm sure it'll liven up later. It's bar 13, the underground bar. It's not always open, but on Saturdays it is.
And here you can see what's happening in the events room next door, which seems to be karaoke today.
Oh.
So maybe we'll avoid that. But actually, we'll nip in because it is one of the more active rooms.
Now, see, here's the thing: with all the electrical going off, going around here, nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, nothing here. Yeah. so we won't spend long in here, but this is the events room. Oh, one of the more active rooms when it's quiet. Back to the main bar.
Man, that step's gonna kill me. He keeps grabbing my ankle.
Just at the top of the stairs before the cinema room, it started going off definitely like I think
Same time.
7 was probably the highest before I did a test against the light. What?
And it shut down my camera and the light. Everything went cool. See? Look at that.
So we're going to have a little walk around Banshee Labyrinth here in Edinburgh. I have a trigger object in my bra, which this was part of the red light district, so let's see what happens.
All right.
So the boys got a reaction, so let's see what it does for the girls. So let's go. This is possibly the strangest thing I've done on a Saturday night in a pub in Edinburgh ever. So at the moment we have a little bit of reaction. How are you finding this area? Do you feel anything around here?
I don't.
To be honest, I don't know the layout of this area very well, so I don't know. I think it was up here that Alex and Dutch had a bit of a reaction, so I mean, it's definitely got physically colder, but don't have much of anything going on. Oh yeah, this is the cinema room, so this is where they got a reaction. Oh, here's the man himself on the wall.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid the audience reaction is very low right now.
Can't really
Sorry,
see it on the
Alex.
camera.
Yeah, it's a 0.0. So perhaps these ghosts don't really respond to women very well. Perhaps it was very much the boy thing they liked.
Yes, maybe.
We're not really getting anything at all.
Nothing there.
Hey, on the ghost hunt.
Sorry?
Anything with the ghosts?
Oh, well, we have people down there, so we have a little experiment with them.
Yeah.
The best place would probably be by the fireplace in the bar.
That's where we were earlier, and nothing. Well, we had bits and pieces, yeah. So, but people we were with had a lot of things going on here, so we had to try and nothing at all. So we could maybe do a circuit back round.
We're thinking it doesn't like females.
Yeah, they got very interested in boys. Let's see, like us tall.
You know why? I'm here.
But what's the top number? Because that one's going crazy.
Okay, yeah, we had. That's very
I don't
true.
know what that
We'll try to
is.
go back to this. I have no idea either. Oh, whoa! Around like 25, 29.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Okay, we'll have to ask them what this is again.
Because this one was the one that was
Doesn't
fluctuating
care.
at the table.
Yeah. I haven't seen it do anything at all. We're getting it back round this way. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, that's your step.
Watch your step after 3 glasses of wine.
I thought it was okay until I stood up. And now I'm really going on. So, yeah, it seems it doesn't really have much to do with the table.
Pull out the trigger object.
Let me do this maybe off camera. Just in case. Because I have it hidden somewhere. So we have this. I thought maybe kind of putting it on my person because this was part of the red light district. Nothing at all. There was a book written called The Ranger's Impartial Guide to the Ladies of Pleasure in Edinburgh, which was a prostitute guide to the various brothels around this area. It's from the 1780s. It's a brilliant read. Oh, interesting. And so it tells you which are the best ladies in the area. We're going to get best bargains. lots of interesting things happening. And so I thought maybe proffering a bit of coin around my person,
Yeah.
which is actually
1.3.
because lots of the areas around here were brothels, which you could go to for whatever you wanted. Everything was an offer around here. And it's a bit interesting. We have some coin and we do have some lovely ladies here, and suddenly it's interested. I think we should go show that to your yes, to
Interesting.
very interesting. Let's put this back.
You went through your little walkabout.
Yes.
So what did you experience?
Well, we walked around the corner and we went up the stairs, and there was not a lot going on. And then I had her take out the
Trigger object.
the trigger object, and it started to go up a little bit.
Well, and also at the same time, just as we were standing there, nothing really much was happening. A lady walked past us and said, "So what are you doing?"
Yes.
So, well, we're with some paranormal investigators and we're just having a walk around. And we mentioned the fact that when the men walked around, lots of things happened, but we weren't getting anything. And this lady walked out and went, "Well, maybe it might work now." And then we realised that this is maybe a trans lady.
Yes.
We walked past, and
And then it
everything's
started
fine.
spiked up
So-
into 2.
Yeah. So I had the trigger object
Your brassiere?
nestled within my décolletage. And as I took it out, things started to trigger. And also I started talking about a book that was written in the 1780s called The Ranger's Impartial Guide to the Ladies of Pleasure in Edinburgh, which is effectively a prostitute guide to this area, because the old town was an area of brothels. I mean, Edinburgh was, as everywhere was, highly involved in the sex trade. Sex trade is my area of history. Three glasses of wine. My area of history I'm really interested in is sexual history, especially women's sexual history. So a lot about sex trade, about sexual diseases, and so this is kind of my thing. And so because the sex trade was dipped in and out of, there was a welfare state. If you were between jobs, you had people who were occasional prostitutes, you had people who were professional prostitutes. This area was rife. You would get very young, and also the prostitute guys talk about the state of people's teeth, because syphilis rots your teeth. So you get lots of comments about young mistress, whoever, lovely teeth. And it's not commenting on her appearance, it's basically saying she's not deceased. And so there's a lot of that kind of thing, and this was one of the main areas for it. So there's brothels down there, there's brothels stored here. Mrs. Beat, do you know the Mrs. Beat cookbook? You know, the classic Victorian cookbook, Mrs. Beat's household management.
Okay.
Mrs. Beaton had syphilis because of her husband. So she miscarried multiple children, which is not a problem. Either children would be miscarried or they'd fail to thrive, so they'd die very young. And she died of tertiary syphilis. Well, I think it was more effective childbirth, but she had syphilis. And that was one of the causes of death at 28, I believe. Her husband died at 30 of syphilis because he basically had an adventurous youth and brought her syphilis in her marriage.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah. Well, he basically fucking around with prostitutes. And his syphilis went to his brain. So the final end stages of syphilis, tertiary ones, you will basically go mad and you can become hyper-focused on things, especially sexual elements. He was a magazine editor, and so he wrote a problem page, a pretend problem page. And his obsession became around kind of bondage and tight-laced corsets. So he read all these problem page letters into his own page, but my husband wants me to lace my corset tighter and tighter and tighter. What am I to do? And he basically would write these replies back, yes, do it. That's a very good idea. Yes, very tight. Very, very, very tight. And it became this kind of BDSM thing because it's a lot to do with it. Syphilis. Yeah.
We might have to take another adventure back there.
We could take another look and see if the same happens again. Because if the same doesn't happen again, then it definitely wasn't an electrical.
Or maybe take the trigger object because it reacted when I kind of
Well, I didn't have the trigger object on me last time.
So the last time Alex and I walked through what was that area again?
Well, it was just up before the cinema.
So up to him where your poster is.
So the camera,
maybe it's on my sunset.
look at that, EMF detector shut off. So the camera, light and all, shut off. The EMF detector started going crazy. It went as high as 7, which is phenomenal. That's like not healthy, at all, by the way. And we had to reboot everything right there on the spot. That all happened at the same time. So that'll be reflected when you see the skips in the video when I post this. You want to go do another walk?
Yeah, let's just go back up to that place and see if we get it. Because if we don't get the same again, that means it was definitely weird.
All right.
So we get about 2 here.
You got a 2?
And this is where it was going wild before. It's getting higher, but it's not. I don't know, maybe it is background electricity then if it's.
But what would it cause the camera to shut down?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, also, I'm not sure, unless this is incredibly strong, right?
Do you still have the trigger object?
Yeah.
Just show it to the public. Let's see, anybody
See, Victorian sovereign. It's a replica, of course. I don't have the money for a real one.
who does?
I know, rich people, man.
There's not a lot of ghost hunters that can afford
No.
an actual Victorian.
Gold sovereign.
Right.
No, if anything, it's gone down since they got. I mean, this area does have a little higher ambient EMF, but you're going up to 4. Was last time it was going up above 4. For
Exactly.
Sure. Around 4.7, and now it's dropping right there.
Yeah, now we're down to almost, it's going down to base levels.
Yeah.
And you can show the people, point it up towards the light.
Yeah, I mean, if I bring
If
it
you
up
put
to
it
the
up
light,
there, of course it's going to go crazy.
yeah, it goes absolutely crazy. But
Yeah, it goes
down
bonkers.
here, it's really.
Oh, sorry, folks. Go ahead.
not gone.
Go ahead.
But that's very interesting that now we're getting 0.5, and before we were getting huge numbers here. We should
Probably go back.
disappear, I think.
Let's see.
It did it again, but that's not the camera.
It did go right down, which suggests it's not the ambient electricity.
Right.
Because it is underneath a really powerful light. And if you put it up to that light, of course it goes
It
crazy.
went up to almost 10.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the cinema room? Do you know anyone?
Yes, they're definitely in there.
Kind of weird. I want to know what's going on in that little hallway. What happened there? All right, we just did our impromptu kind of on-the-spot investigation with.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a local history and ghost tour guide.
And
Hello, I'm Gillian, and I'm a historian and a storyteller.
we found some interesting things. Gonna go back and review the evidence later after we've had some rest and slept it off. I'm Dutch Jackson. Welcome to the Night Crew.